So I cannot remember the last time I spoke about a dedicated coin on my YouTube channel, especially this low in market cap. That's a bit of a warning in itself, so beware. This has to be one of the most unbelievable projects in terms of value I have seen with a working, genuine product with staking, with cross-chain, with swaps, and more integrations coming within their roadmap. It's on both the KSM network and Polkadot network as well. It's on Ethereum, and Cosmos is coming soon. What? Its narrative is liquid staking derivatives, LSD for short, right? Massive on the Ethereum chain. DeFi in itself is getting bigger and more secure. Being liquid is the next step of that. So hopefully, traditional finance can learn a thing or two here. Want more of my content and what I think about other projects, check out my Patreon, and most importantly, join the community on the Discord in the Patreon. It's class. Before we go into the screen and going through what I'm going to talk about within this project, the team have no idea I am doing this. I am a holder. I bought yesterday at 21 cents and today at 18 cents. My whole portfolio is 2%. So it is low cap. It is highly risky. It could die, literally. So take that as a warning. So liquid staking derivatives are absolutely massive. And we're going to talk about this because I think this is where things are very interesting before we get on to what I'm talking about. Because this side of the market is getting bigger and bigger. And this is the data. Now, this is from March, a little bit different now. And I want to explain why that's different. 14.3 billion is currently locked up in LSDs. Mad. Most of that is Lido. Lido I use for Ethereum. It's amazing, right? Huge. But the Shanghai update has created an even bigger incentive because it's allowed the withdrawal. When it first got released, there was no withdrawal button. It was a bit unattractive for a lot of people. Now when we look at what is happening with Ethereum, we've finally got more depositors and withdrawals. When this first happened, a lot of people were bugging out. Now people are joining in. 14.93% of the supply of Ethereum is now currently staked liquid, essentially. It's pretty damn awesome, right? A majority of that is on Lido. 32.9 billion alone in this. And as you can imagine, Lido has a lot of that share. Very, very interesting, right? So it's good. It's really good for the entire ecosystem. But let's go on to what I'm talking about, because I want you just to imagine that amount of money in Ethereum as one side of it. This protocol I'm talking about, this asset, also there's Ethereum. Much higher staking as well, because it's a little bit different. It is on the Ethereum network, which obviously the cross-chain is a huge thing. As you know by the title, it's on Polkadot, right? It's on KSM too. It's called Bifrost. Now, as I say, this is a new project in my portfolio, but I think it's so undervalued, it's absolutely scary. Token emissions with a crowd load always is a problem with these projects, but they've got a lot of stuff happening and we're going to go through it, right? So let me explain what it is in fine details. Cross-chain liquid staking, providing LSDs for 9+ blockchains and beyond. It's a dedicated layer 1 built on Substrate with XCM for cross-chain staking. So let me just word that in simple terms. You want to be liquid when you're staking, so you've got the money to hand in case something goes wrong or you need to move stuff around. But you can move it around on multiple blockchains at a button click. No faffing around, no having to withdraw it all and then send it to another blockchain and have it's a nightmare. You can move it seamlessly throughout multiple blockchains. Shorty on a few already. It's pretty scary when you think about that. When we look down, the token value locked essentially is 30.8 million. Going back to that article before, it's 14.1 or whatever billion already on one ecosystem alone on Ethereum. Yes, undervalued, we may say. Huge. There's a lot of potential here. 84,000 addresses already, and it's still a relatively new project. It's pretty scary, right? Going down, this is the information that you got. You got Polkadot liquid staking, currently 24.26 return on that. And as you can see, there's a decent chunk of stakers. Not huge, but what's going to happen? I'll show you what's going to happen in a minute with the tokenomics. You got Moon River, You got Moonbeam, which is relatively new, KSM, Ethereum, and obviously the Bifrost as well. So there's a lot of things, and this is very, very early days. This is why I say in the disclaimer, this is early, very early. So just a warning, right? Now, moving down to the simple situation here of scenarios. You can stake, instant yield, and liquidity. Swap your derivatives anywhere to get liquidity across multiple blockchains and stuff like that. And obviously borrowing is coming soon. Huge. But the standard tokenomics, governance, cross-chain, decentralization, and multi-scenario. Obviously, the governance is huge for Polkadot. Massive. In my opinion, one of the most decentralized exchanges out there, blockchains, out there. You got the cross-chain, communicate with multiples. Obviously, decentralization goes within the referendums on the governance. And obviously, multi-scenario. No liquidations, one-to-one peg yield. Huge, massive, monstrous. Obviously, the ecosystem, as you can see, majority of it is Polkadot and the backers. Huge stuff. But I want to talk more about certain things within this, which is huge. So let's talk about the tokenomics first, right? So you got here the value capture, commission for liquidity, the utilization, the distribution, the movement, and all kinds of stuff within the swaps of the token itself. Huge. The gauge weight, so in terms of the weight of the different type of V tokens through staking, you got the slash collateral, which is always a big thing, governance, and obviously staking rewards. So there's a lot of multiple elements here for network effect to grow within this ecosystem, as well as the incentive model as well. So crowd loans, liquidity, the different types of V tokens and stuff like that. This is huge. But let's talk about the distribution. We are pretty much over a year in for the crowd loans here. So there's quite a lot of the stuff's been unlocked, which is good, which is probably why most of the value of the asset has fallen. And this is where it gets interesting. So a lot of these are locked for 300 days. Some of these have already been released, essentially, because it's been from June. So we're pretty much at the point where they've already been released, right? Now, this is the thing. You got incentives for the crowd loans. Obviously, Kusama, it's on Kusama, and it's also on Polkadot. And this is the strategic elements to it. As you can see, majority of this, and currently where we are right now, we're ahead. We're ahead of the curve. So majority of the unlocks has already happened, right? So that's a good thing for a potential buy-in point, which makes sense. And at the end of this video, if you stick around, I want to show you where the multiples could be. It's a little bit scary, I'm not going to lie. But if this project is a success, pretty good going, really, when you think about it in that way. But that is the most obvious side of the tokenomics I can give you. Total supply is 800 million. And there's going to be this locked. This is never going to get returned. It's never going to get taken out, which is always good. So we're not too bad in that situation. In terms of the analytics, in terms of like the growth, you can see here, there's a little bit of a growth going on with some of them, apart from obviously Ethereum for obvious reasons. But you can see that a lot of them are starting to trickle up here. Glimmer, relatively new. Filecoin, relatively new as well. So it's slowly growing, which is always good to see. There's plenty of information and data on their website, and this is the last 30 days. But let's look at the product. This is a product it's got already. Mental, right? So you got Filecoin, you got Ethereum, you got Polkadot, and you got Glimmer already on here, and there's more to come. This is linked to my crowdloan wallet on the Polkadot ecosystem. You can toggle between the different type of blockchains, i.e. you can toggle between Kusama and obviously Polkadot, as well as connecting to the Ethereum blockchain, which is mad. So I've got one of my shitcoin wallets here that is connected to Ethereum right now. If I wanted to stake my Ethereum and get this as a yield, I can. I don't have much Ethereum, but I am currently staking the BNC token on the Kusama network. But yeah, because it's on Ethereum, the side to this is, for obvious reasons, guess what? Fees. But look at the reward. The reward is much heavier due to the fact of what it is and where it is, and obviously less volume, okay? But yeah, you need to be somewhat alert to that. Newer projects have that incentive, right? So do it at your own risk, right? Moving on to obviously the other stuff, you got the yield farming stuff. As you can see here, pretty self-explanatory. The swaps, so as you wanted to get liquidity and stuff like that, relatively good. The cross-chain side of it, as you can imagine, winner, chicken dinner. Nothing much to shout about here, realistically, but you can see the idea. It's pretty simple. And obviously the wallet side of it. Currently, I am on the different networks, so you can't really see much, which makes sense. But ultimately, fundamentals, it can be all stored in your wallet. If you've got the JSON file, You can connect it into multiple wallets on the blockchain of Polkadot. So say, for example, you created a wallet on Fearless, you can move it over to Nova or Talisman, and you can also access it on websites like this within the ecosystem. It's freaking awesome. I love it. Anyways, moving on to the nitty gritty. Developers, commitments, it's still busy. Stuff's already happening. Even lately, 3 hours ago, there has been an update. 2 days ago, last week, 3 weeks. It's busy. So sometimes when people talk about low cap coins, it's because they've either died or nothing's happening. This is a busy blockchain. This is busy, commitments are happening. And again, when we first seen this, and it was a couple of the guys in Learning Crypto, Bitcoin Biker actually, has been talking about this for a few weeks, and he's been like, how is this so low? I don't quite understand why it's so low. Yeah, crazy. When you put it all together and you do your research, you think to yourself, whoa, hold on a minute. That's pretty good. It's got all the ticks in the boxes for a project that is actually alive. The most important thing we do need to talk about, though, is obviously the roadmap. What is coming next? And you can probably see a few things here. Okay, well, we've already seen what's in progress, right? Q2, pretty busy. You can see this here. So you got MEV support, new tokenomic upgrade. You got the launch of the Kasama and Polkadot bridge, which is going to be huge for the liquidity side of it. You got XCM liquidity hub, the native app level for the V token minting, huge, as well as listing of, Fowler Network and A-Star, which is going to be pretty big. A-Star is a pretty big ecosystem as well, certainly growing. Q3, even better, you got the Cosmos bridge, so Atom, huge, as well as some NFT stuff, Filecoin upgrades, and then obviously launch of the V token Pro, and all the other stuff. But again, most importantly, you've also got V Atom. So for the Cosmos bridge, going to be listing the Atom token as well. Huge, as well as the ZK rollups. There's a lot happening. There's a lot happening. So if these are aiming to have 9 dedicated blockchains, you can imagine Atom's a big part of that. You've got Ethereum a part of that, Polkadot a part of that. There may be more, a lot more. So it's huge, right? Massive, in my opinion. Moving on to the price, as you can imagine, it's relatively on the floor. Low cap coins have these big, massive, juicy spikes, so just be careful. But a few weeks ago, it was up here. Now it's back down here. Opportunity is still here. And when we look at the obvious, right, let's talk about it. The returns. Now, I've just put this at a modest 3.2 billion, which is probably mental in its all sense, but that's Cosmos Network, right? That's Cosmos. 854x. It's a lot, right? It's huge. In my opinion, will that happen? I don't know. I genuinely don't know. I don't like to do many predictions because I like to use Fibonacci, but stuff like this, it's good to know. There will be a change in supply. If I go over to here, already we're at 20. The supply will eventually change. It will probably go to maybe 40, essentially when it's fully out. So you're going to get a bit of a narrative change there. But if I do change that to say 40, we'll say actually, yeah, we'll say about 35, 40, give or take around there, because we know that 40 is going to be locked anyways. You can see the difference here. Like, yes, you can see certain things, but let's talk about other kind of things. So let's look at GLMR, potentially going up to them, that sort of level. That's still a 28x. And that is only $181 million market cap. That's monstrous. There's a lot of upside here. But when we talk about risk management, when we talk about having to buy a low cap coin, you need a product, you need a team, you need an active community, you need a development community as well that are actually committing to stuff. You need a solid roadmap. Yeah, ticks in the box. Working product is a tick in the box. It isn't that image of like an ICO with like the bottom of a horse and like a cow at the front. It seems to work in order. I have been using that ecosystem this morning. It works very well for staking, for moving stuff around. It does genuinely work. But let me know in the comments, where do you think a realistic market cap for something like this is in terms of where it could go? For me, looking at it, you know, if we're looking at like the Tezos and stuff like that, like nearly $1 billion, that is still a monster gain. And I kind of said it before, and I alluded to it a lot. There's a lot of money in this side of the world. People want cross-chain. People want liquidity at an instant. People are looking at stuff like this that could be better security-wise as well, because it's on a substrate within the Polkadot and the KSM network, which is overall better than Ethereum. So there we go. I'm done. Feel free to like this video if you like this. If you're an investor in Bifrost, make yourself known. And yeah, I'm keeping an eye on this. 2% of my portfolio is in this. I'm not going to buy any more. I think I've got a really good deal anyways in terms of buying at this level of market cap. I could have bought a lot earlier, obviously, but for me, it looks a pretty solid pick for a return.